All right, great evening. Had some technical difficulties. I don't believe they were user issues, but they may have been. We are going to give Coach Sherman a few minutes to get in. Let me get my notes together. So, if you have not joined us for the last two sessions we had in May, then definitely welcome. Excited to see you all and looking forward to. All right, I see you, Coach Sherman. Looking forward to some discussion tonight. Definitely put your questions in the chat box. And hello. Give me just a moment. Let me add our facilitator. It does not want me to add you. Hello to everyone as you all are coming in. If you know someone that is not in the group yet and needs to be in the group, your broadcast, then you can go ahead and add them now. All right, Coach Sherman, I am inviting you on, and I know it'll take a few minutes. So if you missed the last two sessions, which we had in May, then definitely you can see those. I didn't take them down. They're still here in the group. And this is a private group, so if you have a few people you want to invite, I can go ahead and approve them and bring them in. And did you get the invitation? Okay. All right, and so give it just a minute to add him. And as he's coming on, I'll introduce him. J Michael Sherman is not just a singles coach, he is a life coach, senior pastor of Covenant Family Church, as well as CEO of Sherman Consultancy, and he is a motivational speaker. He is married to the beautiful Aisha Sherman. They have 4 children together, and I see you here, but it's not letting you come all the way on for some reason. Well, let me try it again here. Approve, add. It says you're not approving me adding you. So if you need to, you can go out and come back in. And I guess I can talk a few minutes. I am single, so I have a little information I can share. I am actually divorced, and that's why I put the poll in the group earlier this week, whether you are divorced, yes or no, and then if you've never been married, because many people here in the group have never been married, which I'm glad I did that poll, because that was very interesting to find out that we truly have singles in the group. Hello everyone, as you all are coming in, thank you so much for joining us. It's a private group, so you won't necessarily be able to share, but you can invite those that you know that are single into the group. Talk to me, Coach Sherman. Is it giving you the invitation so that you can come on, or do we need to disconnect and start over? Because I see you here and I'm clicking approve, and I did add you initially. It's adding now, I see it. All right, so if you have questions, we're going to talk about the new sexy tonight, which is going to be personal development.
All right.
Thank you. So maintaining yourself. Okay, I may need to go get my hair. I don't see them. I'm getting some feedback. You all hear the echo?
I do hear an echo.
Now we can go forward. And we need to do something.
You still hear echo?
You don't? Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm already going to tell him that our topic is development, which is sexy. And just maintaining yourself and being ready for what you said that you want. And many times we say we don't prepare, and then they come and we because we are not ready. So to get started, since you're not actually a life coach, what would personal
personal
development
development
look
look
like
like
for one of your
for one of your
clients?
clients?
What would you
What would
recommend?
you recommend?
Well, in particular, for one of my clients, it would start with a goal. I use a couple of different approaches, a couple of different models, like the inner game or the grow model, which would cause the person to focus on a goal, answer questions like where they are now, consider their options, and then we would deal with the wheel that leads to a way. And a client would sit with me for a period of weeks or so, and we would work until we accomplish that goal. My job is to provide as much motivation as is necessary to get said person through whatever plateau experiences or pitfalls that they may encounter along the way, because we're certainly going to be challenged as we reach for our goals. But it would consist of really pushing a person to be their best version of themselves. And I think that's what personal development really is about, is developing yourself personally. Well, into what? Into your ideal of self, into your better vision of life, into your more perfect self. And that's the job of a good life coach, I think, to encourage that and push it out of you.
All right.
All
So
right.
you
So
heard
you
that.
heard
If
that.
you are
If you
not
are
now,
not
Kelvin
now,
said that I
Kelvin
had
said that I
time.
had time.
When Kelvin is
And
it
Kelvin
just
is
on my
it just on
end
my end,
or when both of us
when
talk?
both of us talk?
Say again.
So I may need to
So I
run and
may
get
need
my
to run and get my
headphones.
headphones.
Let me
Let
do it
me do
this
it
way.
this way.
We may have to
We may have
start
to
over.
start over. So
So I hear
I
myself
hear myself
echoing,
echo,
but you said
but
you
you
did
said
not
you did
hear
not hear it.
Could it be your volume? Maybe turn it down as low as possible.
my
My
volume.
volume,
I need to hear you
I can hear
already.
you already.
I don't
I
not
don't
hear.
want to.
So let me
So
do it
let me
this
do it this
way.
way.
I don't see my
I don't see my
headphones.
headphones.
Maybe I'll try
May have
mine
to
then.
We have to
And we'll see if
start
that helps.
over.
start over.
Okay, you're gonna get
Okay, you're
yours.
gonna get yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So while
All right.
he's
So
doing
while
that,
he's
what are
doing
some
that,
things
what
that
are
you
some
all do
things that
on a
you all
daily
do on a
basis
daily basis
for personal
for
development? I
personal
know
development?
personal
I know
development. I
personal
have
development.
a
I have
playlist
a
that I listen
playlist that I
to.
listen to.
It's clear. Okay, I
Clear.
thought it
Okay,
was
I
me.
thought it was me.
Last time when he
Last
put
time when
his
he put
headphones
his
in, it
headphones
did
in, it
help.
didn't help.
If it
If
doesn't,
it
then what
doesn't,
I'll have
then
to
what
do
I
is
have to do
start
is
over because
start
I don't
over
have
because I don't
my
have
headphones.
my head.
But I
But
listen
I
to
listen
a
to the
playlist in the morning of different things. Many of the videos that I listen to, um, okay, see, is clearer now. Many of the videos that I listen to each morning, actually, Coach Sherman has recommended those videos. So there are different things that I'm listening to that he's recommended. And there are some things that I have as far as affirmations that I read. It's clearer. Thank you, Kelvin. So it many things that I read in the morning as well. So what are some things that you all do? And you can just drop it in the comments as he continues to talk. The things that you do on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be in the morning if you do it at night before you go to bed. Whatever you're doing as far as personal development. If you need more clarity on what personal development looks like, then definitely ask that as well. But as far as, since this is a group session, try to keep it as general as possible. But on a daily basis, you kind of touched a little bit on some things that we should be doing. As far as being single on a daily and weekly basis, what are some things that you would recommend?
I think that I think we said this the last time we were together. It's appropriate to consider.
Now I cannot hear you.
Oh man, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Well, look at that. Maybe I should just hold it up here. I think we said this the last time we were together. Being single, for what it's worth, is one of the only times in your life that you can respectfully be very selfish. Give all of you to you. And I think that when you ask, well, what are some of the things that as a single person I could be doing on a daily basis, I think it should start with, a goal that you're willing to give yourself to and over to. I find that we accomplish most when we have a goal, when we have something that we're trying to to bring into this reality, something we're trying to create. And so, as a single person, I think this is the best time to create. This is the best time to bring forth your desires. So a lot of times we have business ideas, we have, dreams that we want to accomplish, childhood dreams that we want to accomplish. It's like single, this is the best time to get that done. So, what do you do in your daily routine? I don't know. Organize it however you need to be your best self. So, if there's classes that you need to take, if there's a community of people that you need to network with, if there's conferences that you need to attend, it's like this is the best time to do that. And maybe your day would comprise of, a routine of meeting those type of agendas. So outside of, taking care of yourself and eating, and sleeping and that type of ordeal, you're just very balanced in how you choose to spend your time. Most of your time should be given to developing yourself to be your best self. And I think that you can have a lot of fun along the way. You can meet a lot of people along the way who are equally as invested in developing themselves.
Right. And one thing you touched on is working on your dreams and goals. So what I hear is that we shouldn't be waiting, because a lot of times we wait as single people for our partner to come along so that we can be quote unquote complete and do whatever it is that we're wanting to do. But if we start now, we probably will more likely run into or be found, for the ladies, by the mate that we're looking for.
See, it's my conviction, and it's been my experience that you don't really bump into the one until you've really given yourself over to just being your best self. And it's kind of like the old saying, "A watch pot never boils." Um, it seems that love slaps you in the face when you're open to love, certainly, but when you're not the most invested in trying to catch somebody right now. You're just living your best life. I like to put it scripturally sometime because the Bible is still my favorite book. There's a story about Ruth that's told, and she loses her husband. She has a mother-in-law who's a mentor to her, and her mother-in-law tells her to go to work. She gives her this assignment. There's a certain field that she wants her to go and work in, and she instructs her to go to work and to do this for a period of time. And there's some dialogue that exchanges and go on, and the mother-in-law is having to encourage her and advocate for her to continue her course. But there is a relative that notices Ruth, and his name is Boaz in the text. And everybody talks about in the church world how they want a Boaz, but they're not really paying attention to the text. Boaz discovered Ruth doing something. And perhaps it was something she enjoyed, perhaps it was something she did enjoy, but she was doing something. She was giving herself over to something. And it's very attractive. It's very attractive to see a person in their element, doing whatever it is that they love to do. And this is the type of thing that, a single person is going to have to invest in, getting into their field, so to speak, so that Boaz can see them, so that Boaz can discover them doing what they do. And then he doesn't rescue her from it. I love this part. He helps her. It's like he helps her shine brighter, he leaves extra behind so that her job is a little easier so she doesn't have to work as hard. I think that's the most romantic part of the story, is that when you find love, it doesn't necessarily take you off your path, it doesn't suffocate you, it makes it
Right.
easier for you to be who you are and do what you're doing.
Right, right. And reaching those goals, knowing your goals, and when you're doing what you love to do, you're at your most confident. So
Hmm.
that definitely is attractive, and you don't have to have that awkwardness of first meeting somebody. They would actually approach you because you are in your best place. And like you
Yes,
said, she was shining, and that shine is definitely something that draws people.
that part. That's why I say personal development is the new sexy. To bring yourself to a place where you're shining, where your light is shining bright, without anybody's approval or need to approve you or validate you. It's just you've gotten to the place where you love what you're doing, you love your life, you're in a good routine, you're happy, you're harmonious. It really, really has the capacity to draw people in and pull them in, at least quality people in. Maybe you won't have a lot of the riffraff. That might be a good thing. But
Right.
quality people will begin to see. Other people who are also invested in developing themselves will notice.
Right. And that's definitely something good. Something I read about successful people. What they do, they don't do to-do lists. They actually schedule everything. So
Look at
if
that.
you have a goal that you're working on and you break that goal down based on each day, what you should be doing to
Hmm.
manifest that goal, each week, what you should be doing, each month, what you should be doing, and so on until you actually have accomplished that goal. And breaking it down definitely would make a big difference. So
Yeah.
being single, if we're just focusing on finding the mate and never improving ourselves, it definitely creates friction within us, because that's where you get that mask that you see, that facade that comes out when we first meet people, instead of being our truest self. And many of us think that people can't handle who we really are, but to find out you're one way initially and then to get you in a different setting and see something else is definitely not attractive at all. So what is it that we should be doing as far as, and I know you wanted to touch a little bit on how to date,
Hmm.
and we're working on a book to give to everyone in a couple of weeks. Definitely, dating is different facets of dating, but what is it that we need to be doing to prepare ourselves, and not just dating everyone, because we touched on that a little bit, not just going out randomly dating, but what is it that we should be doing?
Well, I think first of all, know your values. Know what you stand for. Um, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? That's the old adage. So know your values, and then once you know your values, I think it's a lot easier to find people who align with those values, who align with those truths. Um, there's some things that will be helpful, I think, when we prepare ourselves for dating people, and that is being comfortable enough within our own skin again that we don't need people's validation or approval gives you an opportunity to just speak from a very open and honest place. So, getting to a place in you where you can just share those things about you that you like, those things about you that you do not like, and without any fear of people's criticism or response or negative whatever. That's a big, big deal. When you're preparing for a date, if you haven't dated in a long time, one of the things is wondering how much everything has changed. And by this, we normally mean like the game has changed. People are different, personalities are different. But no matter how much the game has changed, one thing that won't change is that honesty radiates. Genuineness you can feel. And you may get tripped up with words, but if you come in with a certain honest intention to be yourself, I think that really really resonates, and it could take a lot of the pressure off when you're dating. There's no 1 2 3 to this, but if I had to kind of anchor it down a little bit, it's just definitely putting people in a position where number one, you know your values, know what you stand for, because there's going to be a lot of options out there. There's a lot of people to come at you with different thoughts of what things should be, and knowing what you stand for gives you a starting point, so that you don't fall for everything, every trick in the book. If it feels wrong to you, it's just wrong. The second thing is having the confidence of knowing that you don't need anybody's approval to be you. When you're dating, this is the best time to put you out there and like, bruh, like sis, I really don't care if you don't like me. This is the wonderful time for me to be me and for you to see that. So being comfortable in your own skin goes a long way. And I think that once you get that, you'll kind of feel your way through with the rest. Genuineness cannot be denied. That was my last point. You can feel honesty. As long as you go with that intention that you're going to be yourself, I don't have anything to hide. I'm not trying to be pretentious. People feel that, they resonate with that, and you'll feel your way through the rest. Stumbling over words, the awkwardness of stumbling over stuff, whatever your nuances may be, you'll feel your way through that.
Right, and that's what Lady Sherman said. That's right, be yourself. So
Yes.
definitely is the big key. And for those that may not be ready to be themselves, what do you recommend?
See, this is why I say personal development is the new sexy. Because if you're not ready to be yourself, how can you really expect somebody to take you serious? And I don't mean
Right.
that to be crass or to be rude, but if you're not willing to put in the time to know yourself, how can you expect somebody else to put in the time to know you? Do you know how frustrating it is, to try to know somebody who doesn't want to know themselves? It might be a very awkward position to have somebody in to expect them to be more invested in you than you are into yourself. So if you're not at a place where You can start there. Be willing to work on you. Personal development is the new sexy. So acknowledging your limitations, that honesty there, that hey, I know I struggle in this area, but I'm working on it. That goes a long way.
So do you recommend making a list of strengths that are that I bring to a relationship, and not just me personally, but anybody that's coming to a relationship, so they'll know better who they actually are and what they're looking for?
That's one way, making a list. For instance, one of the coaching models that I use is the inner game. And what the inner game makes you do is focus in and look in to your experiences and learn a lot from your experience. And so, yes, you can use that time to chronicle it in a list or to see what your strengths or weaknesses may be, what you're bringing to the table, what your pros and cons may be, or what have you. There are a number of ways that you can do it. I personally use prayer a great deal. Meditation, again, I'm a very forward thinking person. I believe in the power of goal setting and visualization and understanding what you want. So there's a lot of ways that you can accomplish getting this.
Okay. And so practicing personal development on a daily basis, how is my personal development basically going to help me with my relationship?
See, well, there it is. Now that's beautiful. The first thing is those who take time to work on themselves raise their value. We don't like to talk about this a lot, but there's a sociological theory, um, George Human, can't remember the guy's exact name, but it's called the exchange theory. And all it really suggests is that people are inclined to make decisions based off of its benefits. They're going to do a cost analysis. He brings it down to an exchange, like a business exchange. The question is, as you indicated, what do I bring to the table? Moreover, what am I worth?
Right.
What am I worth? The person who who invests in personal development, who gives themselves over to working on themselves, raises their value. And this means something in a relational situation. It just does. You want to put yourself in a position where you are worth more to people. You bring so much to the table, whether it's your positive nature, whether it's your financial status, whether it's your ability to ground one or to keep them in an anchored position where they can really get through some things. Whatever it is, you got to know it for yourself. Whether it's your sexual prowess, whether it's whatever it is that you consider that benefit, you have to know it in a way where it's second to none. You have to bring it to the table in a way where it's second to none, or otherwise the research suggests that if problems begin to weigh in a way where people aren't getting as many benefits, they're going to make an exchange. They're going to find the person, they're going to find a relational exchange where this is worth more and it costs less. Does that make sense? So people who stop working on themselves are worth less, so to speak. I hate to say it like that. People who work on themselves are worth more. And it's going to make a difference in your position in this whole reality of trying to recruit a spouse, this courtship idea, this mating idea. And we're not the only ones who compete like this. I hate to say it, but mate selection is competitive. It's
Mhm.
competitive. This is a different way of talking about relationships, but we might as well talk about it, right?
Right.
This is why everybody's working so hard to grow hair, add hair, cut hair, paint hair, do whatever, because we're all competing to varying degrees. Other species of animals compete. They fight. They sing louder. They do different things to raise their value to stand out. That's all personal development is doing for us. If we work on ourselves, this is as a single person, your way of pronouncing your mating call, so to speak, and making it more distinguished. And you'll realize that you'll call out to a certain people because of what you've done with yourself.
Which is so true. And do you
Yes,
think this working on ourselves, definitely doing the personal development, helps extend a relationship?
I do personally. I think that the couple that grows together stays together. You know, if you continue to work on yourselves together, You come into new challenges together. Overcoming these challenges creates a different type of bond in the relationship. I definitely think that it makes for longevity. If you're continuing to grow and become your best self and evolve as a enlightened individual, a spiritual individual, you're becoming more loving. You're becoming more tolerant, more understanding of the human condition and of the support that people need to get through their issues. That's going to directly play into your relationship. Because a long-term relationship is going to call for patience. It's going to call for your ability to forgive and to let go. And
Right.
yeah, that's all a personal journey. If you're not working on you, forgiveness is near impossible because you feel like everybody owes you. And when they hurt you, they knew what they was doing. It was very intentional, and you want them to pay. And if you have that mentality for people to pay up when they wrong you, relationship will be short-lived because most of the hurts people inflict or bring to our life, they certainly didn't mean to, and the damages far exceed what anybody can do to repay them. So all they have is I'm sorry, and forgiveness is a must. Personal development is the only way a person can really actualize the power of forgiveness, and I think that's what makes for a long-term relationship.
Beautiful. So, as far as doing the personal development, so I have myself together. I know that I'm growing, and so that'll help me look for someone that's doing the same thing. And do you think it'll help me be able to recognize the red flags? Or I posted something, and I want to say Darius shared it. Green flags, looking for the positive in people, the positive points of relationships instead of seeing the negative and then not wanting to continue the relationship. So, do you think our personal development helps us see better what we're willing to tolerate in a relationship, what we're not willing to tolerate, the deal breakers, basically?
Most definitely, because working on yourself is going to give you some sense of clarity. And the inner clarity is going to make for a lot of the settling of the confusion that we would have normally had. To know exactly what you're looking for goes a long way. The average person honestly don't know what they want. And it's okay to be at that place, but you got to be honest enough to know you're there, to start at I don't know what I want and to be willing to find out. But certainly, it's going to give you the ability to be more clear, more pronounced on your values, on the things that you're open to, on the things you want to experience, and being able to share that in openness and honesty with people, it's definitely going to open up some goodness. Some people are
Wonderful.
not ready
So,
to receive you. When you do your work, sometimes you will stumble into those people who are attracted to you but don't know how to handle you. And I think that you'll be able to see that, like you indicated, red flag, green flag. You'll be able to tell, hey, whoa, this person is obviously attracted to you because you've begun to do so much work with yourself. But you can tell that they're at a certain place on their journey where maybe tying in with them would create tension and friction for you. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should be in a position where you can choose. You're liberated enough to choose to say, hey, this is a good option, but not the option for me.
oh, okay, stay there a little bit. So it's okay to be picky and choosy?
Yes, this is why you're working on yourself. You're making yourself a person of value. And if you're a person of value, you want a person of value. The challenge is when people want to be picky without taking that critical look at themselves. So I want a 10. I want somebody who's financially secure. I want somebody who's physically fit. I want somebody who's emotionally balanced. I want somebody who's spiritually into God. But maybe I ain't none of those things. Well, wait a minute now. That's a challenge. We would
Mhm.
say to those type of people, I don't know if you can be picky. Technically you can be whatever you want to be, but it makes sense, right? It's hard to be picky when you've not even started on your journey. But the person who's really giving themselves over to developing themselves, to pushing themselves, you have the right to expect that in other people. And I think that you're more likely to find it when you're really clear, on this process and you're invested in this process.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So the list that most they say most women, but I think men make the list too of what they are looking for. So we should at least be in the process of becoming those things, if not already, definitely further down on the journey than not doing anything.
If we're talking about building a relationship and honesty, then it's going to be different things that work for different people. But I certainly think that it's a balanced approach. It is a harmonious approach within yourself to be willing to be there too. It's like being on the same playing field. It creates an iron sharpening iron dynamic in your relationship. Now again, it's different strokes for different folks. Some people, they have a different ideal of relationship. They can be night and day differences with their spouses. They don't want the same things from relationships. Okay, but if we're talking about a relationship that maybe matches harmony and mutually beneficial, and one in which we're respecting each other as equals, that type of relationship, then certainly, if that's what you desire, you want to be working towards those things you want from your significant other. You know, it doesn't have to be a dollar for dollar, you working in the exact same industry, but you want to be at the same place. You want somebody that's in their career. What is your career? Do you even know what you want to do with your life? You see what I'm saying? Like it might be an important point in your journey to make sure that you've given yourself over to what you're demanding of somebody else.
So not a difficult challenge, but a challenge enough to make sure that we are growing and pushing ourselves so that we can be what we're looking for.
Yes, yes. I think it's important. I think that your significant other respects you, and you end up respecting your significant other. That's why
Right.
we're saying personal development is the new sexy.
All right. So if you all have any questions for Coach Sherman, definitely go ahead and put those in the comments. You can even put them in the comments after if you're watching this in the replay, and he'll be able to respond to those questions. And definitely, if you have something that's not even on topic or something that you're looking for us to do, you can inbox either of us or put it in the group if you don't mind putting it in the comment section in the group just to
Hmm.
let us know. There are many, many things and aspects, you know, especially at different ages. Personal development is going to look different. Personal development will look different at different income levels. So it just depends on the individual. So do
Yes.
you do group coaching outside of
Yes.
what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in settings like this, in success class settings or what have you, as long as we can have similar goals, I can coach in similar directions. You know, the important thing is what is the goal, and when you're talking about coaching along these lines, relationship, success, business, the idea is what do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? And I think that this is the thrust behind personal development. You want to accomplish something more. You believe that there's something more to accomplish. Again, you know, a better version of you that can come out. And so I work with anybody that can be coached. Can you get a coachable goal? You know, I work with a coachable goal with a group, a coachable goal with a couple, a coachable goal with a person. If you have a coachable goal, we can work with it.
Wonderful. All right. So with that said, we are going to end this session and we'll have one more session next week with Coach Sherman, and I'll find out what the topic is. Maybe I'll leak it early. Did you have something
Mm.
else? Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say one more thing. Everyone has areas that they can improve upon. And I think sometimes when we talk about personal development, people assume that they should be perfected or at a finished end. If we accept that we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all improving, then this becomes something that is rare. To be clear enough with myself that hey man, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm improving, and secondly, to be committed to working on that makes you a very rare person, very rare person. So personal development is the new sexy because everybody wants something that's rare.
Right.
That person who, look, I know where I am, I know my issues, I'm working on my issues, I might even need you to help me with my issues. That person is going to be a breath of fresh air in comparison to the person with all the pickup lines and all the whack this, and they done went and bought the latest fashion everything, and they showed up like they got their whole life together, like they have no issues. In reality, they do. They do. It's okay. It's okay to have issues. It's okay to be working on yourself. And more importantly, it's okay to be saying that to people. We don't have to be perfect. That's it. That's my final point.
Right. Ever learning. We should definitely always be students. We should always be seeking to learn something. So, and I thought about that earlier today. No one knows everything, no matter what, you know, IQ they have. There's always something that we can be learning. So definitely
Yes.
growing in a personal level, growing in your career, whatever area you're looking to grow in, definitely be open to doing so. So will you share your contact information on how they can get coaching from you?
Yes, yes. The best way is to email me. I say that often, jordansherman@icloud.com. But you can also check me out right here on Facebook, facebook.com/Sherman Coaching, facebook.com/Sherman Coaching. And I respond to most things there. All of my services are there. You can get in contact with us directly through our inbox there. Contact information is there. So, yeah, facebook.com/Sherman Coaching.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so we definitely thank you all for joining us this week. And again, we'll be back here next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you have some singles that are on Facebook that you would like to add to the group, go ahead and invite them, and we will add them so that you won't be here by yourself. And definitely, if they are working on personal development, go ahead and immediately add them so they can watch this video and the last two and move forward. So this is 3 or 4 sessions that we'll be doing, and we are working on a book. So join us next week so you can find out how to get the book that has more information on being single. So
Yes, yes, yes.
definitely each week, where you finished, did you have something else?
Me? Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm finished.
All right, so definitely remember that I love you, and I want you to have a great week. Improve yourself in some way, and put it in the group. Let us know what you're working on this week. Someone else may need that encouragement to work on that same area. Enjoy your week and weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you.